Hello? Hello? Good morning, everyone. Hello, really sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to ask if you could kindly take your seats. We will be beginning very shortly. Thank you. Por favor, si podéis ir tomando asiento, comenzaremos en unos minutos. Gracias. Hello, everyone. Hi, sorry. Please, if we could take our seats, we will begin shortly. If anyone needs internet access, here you have the one the event has provided. And please do not forget to also download the official networking app. So if everyone could please just take their seats, that would be appreciated. Thank you very much. Por favor, si podemos ir ocupando los asientos, empezaremos en muy breves momentos. Vale. Hi, just in 3 minutes, just 3 minutes, we will be beginning. If everyone could take their seat, that will be Appreciate it. Again, just 3 minutes and then we will be starting. Thank you. Again, 3 minutes. Thank you, everyone.
Your English is excellent.
Thank you. ¿Qué tal, guapo? Bien, ¿y tú? Ay, tía. Uy, espera. Hello, hi, sorry, just one last time. Now this is for real. We are starting very, very briefly. So again, if you haven't downloaded the app, this is your chance, our Wi-Fi, and yeah, we will be beginning very, very shortly. Sorry? I don't have that answer right now, but I'm sure my colleagues from the organization can help you with that. Sorry. But yeah, we will be beginning now. Thank you. Sorry, just one more minute. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Spain. Welcome to Coruña. And it is my pleasure to welcome you to the third Responsible Artificial Intelligence in the Military Domain Summit. I think it's very significant that we are meeting here today. I am lucky enough to be your host today and tomorrow. My name is Alba Mejide. I also work in artificial intelligence, and I said that it's meaningful that we're meeting here today because I really think that it is. We are living a very, I think we can call it unstable climate, and the fact that we've all come here from all around the world to not only talk about AI in the military domain, but also how can we do it responsibly and how can we do it to strengthen international peace, despite some of the perceptions that this technology might have, or even some of the use cases this technology might have. I think it's both from a military and a civilian standpoint very, very relevant that we talk about concepts such as transparency, some of the ones we saw in the video, governance, bias on the data sets that our most important AI systems work with. And we have a full agenda with very, very good panelists, professionals who will tell us what the state of this technology is today, its implications, and the risk that future and current applications may pose globally on an international scale. To start off our agenda, we have our first high-level segment, and it is my pleasure to introduce the Spanish Chief of Defense, General Teodoro López Calderón. Thank you, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear ministers of the members participating in this summit, academia authorities, military authorities, professionals, distinguished professionals and experts of the industry of the AI. Firstly, I'd like to express how privileged I am to be taking part in this third Responsible AI in the Military Domain Summit. This event is a great platform to share different points of view on how AI in the military domain must contribute to strengthen peace and safety, avoiding risks of unresponsible uses of failures of such systems, but serving to aim superiority in combat in the aftermath, current and future aftermath, with the use of the advantage of AI, and at the same time that we manage and rigorously control the risks. We can state that we are in supersonic time and reducing the time of sensor to shooter. All this in the aftermath of the battleground, very sensitive, producing a humongous amount of data from many different sources that need to be updated, defense that will allow for us to achieve competitive advantages in the safety aftermath. Not only because of its application in combat, but also in other areas such as logistics and force preparation, allowing advances in the field of prediction and prescriptive maintenance, as well as simulation that translates directly into a better disposition of the systems, which is critical nowadays where we have higher and higher demand of the forces. If all this is to be true, the development of own capacities and sovereign capabilities on these systems is one of the main lines of our defense policies, both ours and our allies. Spain has adopted and expanded the responsible use principles of NATO's strategy. These principles are not just mere recommendations, but instead requirements for every device using AI inside the alliance. And it includes legality, responsibility, accountability, explicability, traceability, trustworthiness, governability, and bias mitigation. It's required that the governance in this technology must assure and respect our values. And this action has to be one of the main goals of our activity in this field. So in conclusion, we have to facilitate the integration of AI in military capabilities in order to maintain our superiority in the face of our enemies, and also to be able to protect ourselves from the use of AI by state and non-state actors that are opposition. But along the lines of the Spanish strategy, AI must facilitate and not substitute human responsibility. And so that people are always and the ultimate responsible ones for the decisions made based on an AI system. This concept of the human in the loop is for our army. It's something that we cannot compromise. So this summit over the responsible AI in the military domain is without a doubt a very important initiative in order to try and extend responsible use of an essential technology with an impact in the defense domain that has been compared to the nuclear weapons. And as I said, the perspective of Spanish army is geared to finding solutions with AI to enhance knowledge of the situation, decision-making processes, and our military capabilities, but always within the frame of moral and ethical, rigorous control and transparency and compliance with the law. In the face of this challenging technological aftermath, I'd like to insist we should not forget that the most important resource of our army is their people, our people, the men and the women taking part of our army, and our ethical code defined by the Royal Ordinance of the Army regarding this technology is essential. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope you enjoy these 2 days in this summit. Thank you very much.
I believe that was a very great start to our summit. I want to thank our Spanish Chief of Defense for some very necessary words. I would also like to highlight his last words, talking about how the center and the focus of everything should always be the humans that create it. And taking this message, I just wanted to thank all the authorities that are here with us today. I wanted to thank every single one of you for coming. And to continue off with our agenda, we have our first plenary session. The title is The Frontier Challenge, Artificial General Intelligence, Agentics, and Human Control. So some of the hottest topics we have right now in AI, agents and AGI, artificial general intelligence. And in this panel, we would get a chance to examine how advanced, most recent AI systems are shaping the military domain. But I think it's important to take into account that we will not only be looking at this from a technological perspective, but also from its ethical dimensions. And I think this is really important. And we will explore current capabilities, future applications, the risks that these future applications may pose for all of us globally. And this is where concepts that were just mentioned seconds ago come into play, such as human control, accountability, or transparency. And this is really relevant if we really want to ensure that reliable AI systems are aligned with international humanitarian law. So without further ado, I would like to present our moderator for this panel, Major General Fernando Morón of the Spanish Army. I'm just going to give a quick introduction. He has been the Director of Doctrine, Organics and Materials at the Training and Doctrine Command, since 2023, stationed in Granada, lovely place, lots less of rain than we get here in Galicia, but what are you going to do? And he focuses on assessing military capability gaps caused by changes both in the operational environment and in technology. And I think we can all agree that AI poses lots of new disruptive changes. He's also a member of the Reference Center of the Spanish Ministry of Defense for Artificial Intelligence, and he has extensive experience in communications and cyber defense, in military transformation, and in internal operations. So I would like everyone to please welcome him on stage. Thank you. Gracias.
Oh, I would love that thing.
Some water. So, thank you so much, Alba, for this kind presentation. Admiral, distinguished authorities and visitors, it is a pleasure for me to be the moderator of this panel, as we have seen the Frontier Challenge. To face this challenge, we have an extraordinary yet complementary set of panelists who will give us 3 different views of these same topics. As you have their full biographies in the application, I'll just give a short introduction of each of them. To my far left, we have Dr. Zena Assaad. She is an Associate Professor of Engineering at the Australian National University. Her research explores the safety of autonomous and AI-enabled systems in safety-critical domains, with a focus on military applications. Dr. Assaad is also a member of the Expert Advisory Group for the Global Commission on Responsible AI in the Military Domain, and an ambassador for the Responsible by Design initiative of Article 36 Legal. Thank you, Dr. Zena, for being here today representing the academia. To my side, we have Dr. Tanya Suárez. She's the founder and CEO of IoT Tribe, helping corporate and government build out resilient, sovereign deep tech ecosystems. Her current engagements include the delivery of the UK accelerator for NATO Diana and the Ministry of Defense. She's also the CEO and founder of BlueSpecs, a strategic advisory firm working at the intersection of advanced technology development, adoption, and policy. She has been a European Innovation Council jury member since 2017 and sits on several boards, including the governing board of the European Quantum Industry Consortium. Amazing. Good morning, Tanya, and again, thank you for taking the side of strategy and innovation in this panel. And finally, in the center, Dr. Ignacio Montiel holds a doctorate in telecommunications engineering, working for the last 15 years in various European Union institutions, currently in the Directorate General for Defense, Industry and Space at the European Commission. In this role, he coordinates the European Defence Fund's working group focused on AI and the technological challenges from the European Defence Innovation Scheme, EUDIS. Prior to this, he led the AI Action Plan at the European Defence Agency. Thank you, Dr. Ignacio, and so on, for being with us representing the institutions that may support and coordinate the AI implementation process in defense. And now that introductions have been made, let's get into the topic. To begin with, AI has become a buzzword, sometimes surrounded by some kind of magic or even unrealistic expectations. As this session aims to set the technical foundation for the rest of the summit, let's start framing what AI is in a broad sense, but trying to specify for the more advanced types, and what it is not. Zena, please open the floor from the academia.
Thank you. So as you said, AI is a commonly misused term, I would say. It's used very, very broadly. And in its current sense, AI is really an umbrella term that is used to represent a spectrum of capabilities. And the commonality across that spectrum of capabilities is that they are all systems which adapt over time, or the term that we've come to use for it is that they learn over time. But the spectrum of capabilities across that umbrella term that we call AI includes everything from large language models to computer vision models. And those two are not the same thing. But what they share is that they both have a capacity to adapt or to learn over time. And what differs between these kinds of models is the method of learning that we use. So some use machine learning, some use reinforcement learning, and then the capacity to learn. So each of these systems has a different level of sophistication. But one thing that's really important to remember is that despite popular narratives, these systems are not in fact as intelligent as humans. They are rules-based systems that are data-informed, and they are underpinned by probability and statistics. So they are very much a numbers-based system.
Thank you, Zena. We were discussing this. Ignacio, from your field of expertise, how all this relates to the military use of AI?
Well, first of all, thank you, Fernando, and thank you to the organization for inviting me. It's really an honor to be here. Regarding artificial intelligence, is very important to understand and try to. There are no definitions fully adopted, no, but it's important to understand the technologies, how they are, and I think the taxonomy, it's important to complement a definition like Zena gave. For instance, we have on one side the neuro approach, connectionist, based on neural networks. On the other hand, we have the classical approach of expert systems and rule-based systems. And there is as well another part which could feel meta-heuristics and as well decision trees, more statistics approach. In that sense, we need to take into account that it's different for each technology, how it applies. And in defense, we have many specificities because it's not the same algorithms or the same techniques used. They need really to comply with many requirements. So, and in that sense, for instance, we are in the European Commission running the EDF, the European Defence Fund, and there we have projects. For instance, recently there was a call for integration of LLMs in defense, no? And then it's needed really to take into account that these LLMs should deal with different levels of classification. The data classification obviously is very, very important in the defense domain. They need to be air-gapped, they don't need to be connected, they need to be local. They need to be continuous learning as well, in an environment, for instance, which dust, with noise. So all that, they need to be implemented in defense. And in that sense, it's really important that all this has to be tested and make sure that the system works as intended. So, and this will come, I think, through the discussion, to the need to have a responsible use and responsible design. in order to make sure that it complies with what we want to achieve.
Okay, thank you, Ignacio. I agree, you have mentioned LLMs, and we are trying to focus on, as I said, the more advanced types of artificial intelligence, generative, agentics, in those in which human control is more, we could say, compromised about decision. This table is technical, so there will be following ones dealing with ethics and so on. But Tanya, what can you add? Why do you think this is so relevant for its use in the military domain, precisely?
Well, I think that, first of all, buenos días, and good morning to everyone, and bonjour. I'm sure I can't say it in every single language, but it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you very much for the invitation. So, essentially, defense serves society. You know, defense, every single person here is to defend kind of their society, their community, and for that, we need to have a common technical vocabulary. So the operators, the military, the people who are working in AI labs, and policymakers need to be making sure that they're talking about the same things. So concepts matter, and they don't just matter, as the Almirante General López Calderón said earlier in his opening speech, for interoperability. They also matter for having some type of rules-based system, whether one believes or not that we still have those around us. I personally am still very much in favor of them. So we absolutely do need to be making sure, and that's also why events like this are so important, to make sure that we're using the same language to describe the same technology in the same context. Secondly, we've already seen on the front lines in Ukraine very definitely that capability is moving really quickly. So the gap between what is happening in any given lab and real deployments is always shortening. I mean, it's getting, you know, we're now in cycles of days. It used to be, certainly it used to be years. If you think of previous programs of record, and they were maybe open for 20 years, and now we need to be much more agile in the way that we're adopting the technology, but also in the way that we're providing the frameworks for how that technology can be deployed. We mentioned, you know, artificial intelligence, and whether or not one believes that artificial general intelligence, as in superhuman-like intelligence, is around the corner or a bit further away. The fact is that we do need to have agreement on when it does arrive, what again are the boundaries for its use, because otherwise we're going to be in a lot of trouble. We already have some agentic AI deployments in operational planning, you know, for situational awareness. There are lots of current environments in which AI is being used. So we can't afford for trustworthiness to be an afterthought.
Okay, thank you so much. Tanya, I would highlight from this some key issues. You have said, and we all agree, that we have to adapt ourselves at the speed of relevance, because this goes very fast. And I will highlight also the AI literacy that we should all agree on. I mean, it's not a matter of everybody being technicians, but at least everybody sharing the same concepts, because otherwise there's a lot of misunderstandings and different expectations. Thank you so much. We could also mention, as we are getting into the issue now, some key aspects such as dual-use technologies, for example, possible boundaries for this superintelligence that Ignacio sort of mentioned, the eternal dilemma that we have between open code, open weights, or proprietary black boxes, if we are talking about responsible AI. But the fact is that current regulations are less restrictive when talking about AI for defense. So as we can see military AI-enabled systems fielded everywhere. So my question is, now that we have already set the conceptual baseline, in a nutshell, if possible, let's talk about the essential components that a responsible AI for military use should have. Ignacio, please, open the floor.
Okay. Well,
essential components.
Essential components. I would like to start about talking about this because for instance, in EDF, in the European Defence Fund, we are follow the Charter of Fundamental Rights from the European Union. I mean, there is a very strict ethics requirements and assessment. But the thing is, when we talk about responsible AI, it's really much more complicated in the sense that first we need to comply with the international humanitarian law. As said, the system has to be lawfulness. And in order to do that, we need to be able to attribute, to get attribution, who is responsible for each part, because currently in AI system, in defense, there are many actors. On one side,
Dirigentes comprenden a muchos.
is leading the operation. There are operators who will operate the system. There is the industry who integrates the AI. There is the researchers who, in the end, are researchers of the providers of the models who are trained. So it's really very complex. And then the question comes, who is responsible if something goes wrong? Eh? And then this accountability needs to have a very clear framework. And then, in that sense, the different parts of the system has to be well known. And in that sense, they need to be explainable. The system needs to be reliable. The system, the AI, because one of the main problems when we say explainable, this explainability is difficult because many times we are talking about neural networks which seems like black boxes. In that sense, for instance, we have projects mixing these neural networks with symbolic AI. In the sense, for instance, COIOS is one project from the EDF trying to so there are ways, there are means to show this explainability. And then all that has to be perfectly tested and demonstrated. And then the test evaluation, validation, and verification is an extremely important part in order to test and ensure that the system behaves as designed. No? So what I mean is that through the whole life cycle of the system, we need this responsible by design AI needed. And as well is important one part, which is this traceability, because in order to attribute and see this accountability, we need the systems to trace all the decisions they made. So all this is really the basis of responsible AI, and obviously the main problem is that a system which is evolving continuously, in order to be tested and evaluated, validated, verified, cannot be done at one single point in time, because then the system will evolve. Yes. And then the solutions for that could be a real-time monitoring continuously. But it's really an open discussion how to achieve this kind of principles. Yes.
Yeah, different difficult issues, and thank you representing the institutions that coordinate. Some ideas, I'm afraid we will repeat them along this talk, because we have talked about extensive testability along the life cycle of the system, which is evolving, responsibility, of course, or at least traceability, this kind of issues. Let's go to the other side, Zena. From the academia, from the academia, what can you add to this view from Ignacio?
One area I will kind of direct people towards when thinking about responsible AI in the military domain is the recently released report from the Global Commission for Responsible AI in the Military Domain, which was titled Responsible by Design. Mm-hmm. And in that report, when we looked at responsible development and use of AI, we looked at informed human decision-making and context-specific approaches across the entire system lifecycle. So contrary to popular belief, technology does not develop of its own accord. It develops across a very involved lifecycle process that has multiple intervention points for informed human decision-making. And so depending on how we define responsible AI, really what we're looking at across that system lifecycle are intervention points for technical safety, for legal compliance, and for ethical considerations.
Very, very good. So I assume that we are talking about responsible by design, and maybe we are approaching the concept of responsibility, not of the technical AI implementation on itself, but the whole system, the human part, the developers, the operators, whatever it is. So I think we are expanding the concept of responsible AI, not just for the machine, but for all this ecosystem that creates that. All these conditions are, of course, reasonable and very good. But let's get to the real, to the real ground. Tanya, do you think all these components are consistent and feasible within projects? Are they reachable, easily reachable, I mean?
So I think perhaps there's something to add to what the colleagues have said. So when you're designing a system, and it doesn't matter whether it's an AI, a piece of hardware, anything, you have to start with a user. So with that in mind, you would probably start with defining the mission. What is the AI actually going to be used for? What is the technology? Where is it going to be deployed? Who are the people, the profiles that are going to be making decisions on the basis of that particular AI? Because certainly at the moment, and we would hope for a long time to come, there's going to be a human in the loop. It's unlikely that systems will be completely autonomous. You know, Ignacio's already mentioned the ban on lethal autonomous weapons, although I think that one-way effectors are being used, so I'm not sure whether the ban is completely being followed. But anyway, coming back to the point, so defining mission and decision rights, who gets to tinker with certain parts of the system, super important from the beginning. Explainability, Ignacio, I think you mentioned this, also means traceability. And I think that's a real challenge because many systems, you can, not all of them, but many systems, you ask them a question and you ask them the same question again, and they may give you different answers. So what does that say about the process of the decision making? Is it probabilistic rather than deterministic? And I think that this is something that also, Zena, from how you explained the different types of AI, that could also be something that we bring in. You know, is it a deterministic system? You put something in and you're always going to get the same answer, or is it more based on probability, in which case you may well get different answers, and it's then up to the human to decide on the different scenarios which one applies better. And I think the last and most important piece is that the systems must be testable in realistic conditions. So lab testing will get you so far, but you have to be able to test them in the theatre of war, and that poses you know, extreme ethical questions, because ultimately you are putting people in harm's way with systems that may not have been, you know, they will have been tested to a point, but when you deploy them in a real situation, people can lose life and limb. So it's not trivial.
Thank you so much. You said one thing that is important. In our experience at the Reference Center for AI, we are finding out that defense is a different issue. So sometimes we think of dual-use technologies, but we have seen that LLMs, the baseline training conditions very much the output. No matter if you, in open weights, you try to focus in defense. So base data set, base language, which is in a way a certain mindset implicit, is very important. So you cannot, you cannot reuse simply things and translate them into the defense realm. We are talking about words such as responsibility, explainability, testability. They are showing up, and focusing in this specific military use that I said. Let's try to forecast the near future in our environment and in this, and let's try to stick to the technical part to give way for the other round tables. I would ask now, and I start with you, Tanya. Which do you think are the main challenges of responsible AI in the military domain at the technical level? I'll clarify. In other words, what specifications and practices are needed for safe, trustworthy, and effective AI deployment in defense? Please.
Well, I'm going to start with some of the more technical components. So first of all, to be able to design and deploy any system, you're going to be needing semiconductors. We have certain challenges worldwide now with access to rare earths, supply chain. Everyone wants their own sovereign supply chain. That's very, very difficult to achieve, as we all know. We need data centers for the larger models. We have been focusing on LLMs, but of course we need to remember that actually there are small language models now that are being developed to be deployed at the edge. So, that's one of the ways in which, for example, orchestration of a system as a whole, as in moving away from considering AI to be a particular piece of software deployed on a particular piece of hardware and look at things systemically, that's going to be becoming much more important as we orchestrate the different elements. And of course, we need common ontologies for that inter-system operability to be deployed on land, sea, and air. Because again, we're not just talking about a battlefield that may be, on land. We may be talking about submarines. We don't want to be mentioning too many things that are politically sensitive, but the Arctic, contested environments, we have them the world over. And all of these systems need to be able to be deployed in those very, very diverse systems. So from sub-zero temperatures to 50 degrees in desert. The second challenge, and this is a very, very real challenge, is human. So you need skilled people, certainly to develop the systems. You need them. Also, you need them at all levels. You need them in the military, but you definitely need them in policy. Policymakers cannot possibly devise good policies if they don't have the technical capacity. And of course, you need them in the people that are deploying them. But then the final bit, and coming back to the users, we've seen. Again, I won't mention where, but we've seen the donation of certain fighter jets that could not be then used in a conflict zone because the country receiving them did not have trained women to basically operate them. So we need operators that also have the skills. And then the final one, which is, apologies because this is more conceptual, but also more, I think, super relevant for this summit, it's a tactical one. So what happens when your adversaries really don't care? Yeah. Right? So we don't always place, or we don't all have the same value on human life. Some of us have greater tolerance for losing people. In Europe, our tolerance is really low. We don't like it when we lose people. So what does that mean for us? And that is, again, not trivial.
Oh, that's really interesting. You have highlighted the technical, the human, and the political part. I will try to clarify when I meant LLMs, and according to our experience in the military, we are not in need of such big LLM models. I mean, we try to adjust for the military. Not one size suits for all. And you also talk about tactical cloud and edge computing. Our approach normally is to develop the LLM for general use, and then we compress the model to have it in the edge. I mean, for platforms and things like that. Which is that way you assure that the same training is inherited in all the systems. But I will highlight the last part that you said, which is one hot topic. You nailed one of our biggest dilemmas in the West. Ignacio, what happens when your adversaries don't care? How do we mitigate the risks, that risk, while being responsible and effective?
Yeah, well, this
I'm
is
sorry. It's a difficult question.
It's a big dilemma. Really, in my view, the fact that we comply with the legal, responsible AI would not be a weakness. In fact, I think that would be our strength. I think that's really the message, no? Because when we are talking about responsible AI, we're really meaning that we know what our systems do. We know who is responsible. We can take responsibility of the things we do. And in that sense, to comply with international humanitarian law is absolutely necessary. And yeah, in fact, I don't think that this is a weakness, no? And in that sense, I think we need but obviously the greater agreement to get on this internationally, the better, no? That's why really, I guess the summit is what it's trying to do, and we need to stick to our values, no? That's a very important thing. But having said that, from our side, I mean, DGDF what we do is to support the industry to get more innovative industry, European defense technological industrial base, competitiveness. We are not in charge of the operations. I mean, that's obviously for our member states, and NATO is the basis of our defense. So, but it's important for us because, as I was mentioning the EDF, no, the European Defence Fund, as we are talking about responsible by design, when we fund these research and development programs, we need to think if we want responsible AI since the beginning, no? And then what it cannot be done is really to develop AI systems, integrate them, and at the very last moment to say, oh, we want to be responsible, no? It's completely since the beginning, no? And that's why it's so important to get agreements as well on.
Puts you back in the aim of this summit, which is to be sure and to agree on the best common truth for our systems, thinking and being convinced that to keep our values is our best strength in the long term. Mm-hmm. And it has many reflections, not only in the investment side, but also in the moral courage. So we are kind of sliding the sentence from responsible by design, I think, through to ethical by design, we could say. To translate that in the technical part is the key issue. But Zena, we must have control on the systems. But overcoming the barriers of control, we always end up discussing about human control with debates of human in the loop, human on the loop, complete autonomy, etc. Following my idea, shouldn't systems be responsible by design?
So one argument I always make in my work is that humans are always in control, even with systems that do not require human input. At a technical level, when we think about different concepts that fall under that term, responsibility, it's really hard to imagine capturing all of them numerically. Not everything can be captured numerically, and not everything should be captured numerically. And so in order to have systems that are responsible by design, it's about looking at them at a deep technical level, of course, but it's also about looking at that human decision-making across the system lifecycle for these kinds of systems before we deploy them. And finding that balance of how we marry both technical and human considerations across the system lifecycle is really where the challenge of responsible by design is going to emerge. So yes, they should be responsible by design, but it's both human and technical considerations, really.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Zena. The three of you, I must thank you because I was strict moderating and you have stick to the allotted time. So that gives us some time for questions from the audience. If anyone can pose a question for any of the three or the three experts that we have here, we have some minutes.
Do you have there?
We have something. Somebody?
Yeah.
We don't see with the light, sorry.
No, but he wants to know if there's a mic. Is there a microphone?
Question for Zena. Do you think that the current concepts that we use for assurance of safety criticality in autonomy are going to stretch to...
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I'm so sorry.
I can repeat it. I can hear you. Say that again, please.
Do you think that the current concepts we use for assurance of autonomy and safety critical domains are going to continue to be able to stretch as we climb the autonomy ladder?
Yeah.
Do you think we're going to need to have new concepts that we are going to have to come up with at some point through research for a new kind of granularity of their behaviours we'll get in autonomy?
Yes, rephrase for the public, please, for all them to...
Yeah, so the question was around whether or not the current concepts we use for for the assurance of safety critical systems will be applicable for AI-enabled systems, or whether we'll have to develop new concepts. Is that a good summation? Yeah. One of the things I've reflected on in the work that I do is that a lot of the concepts that we're using for autonomous and AI-enabled systems are not, in fact, new concepts. We're just applying them in different ways, or we're taking them from different disciplines and applying them in a technical sense. So from that perspective, what I will say is that the concepts that we use for safety-critical systems will evolve, and we will bleed more into other disciplines and how we use them. But I don't believe that it is a case of developing everything from scratch. So my background's actually in aviation, and a question we would always get asked is, if you have blue skies tomorrow, how would you want air traffic management to operate? And I always hated that question, because you'll never actually have blue skies the next day. It's not how it works. We have existing foundations and existing bodies of knowledge within different disciplines that we can lean on. And so this idea of kind of new or a blue sky approach, it doesn't always actually play out in reality. So to answer your question, I think that we will have evolving concepts that we apply in this domain. I don't necessarily think that we will develop brand new concepts, because really we do have legacy bodies of knowledge that are very robust that we can lean on. It's about thinking about them a bit differently and applying them in the way that they need to be applied.
Thank you, Zena. This question and your answer gives me the chance to pass a curveball to Tanya.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. We have all this knowledge and all these ideas from the academia, but maybe they are not easily and quickly translated into industry and into projects. Do you agree on this? And if so, how can we close the gap between the advances in the academia and the real implementations and innovations in the projects? Because sometimes I think there are different worlds and there's not much understanding. What's your experience on this?
So our experience is deep tech company, in which AI counts as deep tech. There is a strong, strong academic foundation.
Okay.
So it's very rare that you get a world-leading startup in any of our programs that has not some kind of academic legacy, to use your words. And what really differentiates those that make it from those that don't is the ability to translate the academic knowledge into real world, in the case of defense, operational superiority, right? That's the operational advantage is what the military, that's what they're going to be buying, that's what they're going to be procuring. So that's where the startups, the scale-ups really can come and make a difference. And you know, for example, you spoke about compressing models, multiverse computing. They use quantum techniques. I'm sure you know them. CX2, they're currently on our NATO Diana program. They have LLMs and AI on many hardware systems. But all of those companies have a strong academic basis.
Yeah, I've seen two different scenarios for this, which I think is very important. And also to add a third part in this triangle, which is users. I mean, have good military advisors on actually what we want, or what do we expect. But the two different approaches that I've seen is sometimes industry hires the academy, universities, to have some part of the projects, and some other firms have some kind of academic boards that continuously assess on the things that should be done. And we actually can see that in some EDA programs and things like that. Can you add something about this excellency triangle that we use?
We have in the EDF, for instance, in the EUDIS, which is the Defense Innovation Scheme, there are different approaches. Now, for instance, there are hackathons, you know, where these new innovators try to solve some challenges. We have as well these technological challenges that those are very interesting schemes for artificial intelligence. Technological challenges is one set of projects where one consortium organizes the operational setup, and the other consortium compete, but collaboratively in order to solve a challenge. So, for instance, we have one on drone autonomous navigation, and then through that competitive, but at the same time cooperative, there is sharing of data, there is analysis of how the different algorithms perform. So it's really interesting in order to transparently and clearly show how the systems are working, because as well, many times the problem is that there is no access to the real performance of the system. So, and in that way, we have the innovators and we have as well integrators in these challenges. But there are very many schemes. No? There is, for instance, an accelerator where new SMEs, small and medium enterprises and mid-caps, they come when they participate in the European Defence Fund. They are supported by some consultancy that gives them hints how to integrate into the defense domain. So really, there are many schemes in EUDIS. We have several ways of this integration.
So from the three parts of the three angles that you represent, now let's try to put some little bit blame on the military. As we are saying, our participation in the design, development of projects is more than necessary. But we normally don't have structures, culture. I mean, we are too busy on our current mission to participate in that. You have said you are representing Diana, for example, or
I'm not representing.
No, not representing.
Yeah,
sorry. What I mean is that you know well how it works, and the military part in that is necessary. European projects also, there's some need of military participation in most of them. Even in Spain, our research and development projects normally request some kind of military support. I mean, to be focused on what you expect, and also to trace the development on the systems. And how do you think, any of you, that we can improve this collaboration? Any?
I can go first if you want. For me, so procurement. Procurement, you need, first of all, certainly within the allies, we need to be spending much more on defence. That means that we need to be able to make the case for society to be able to kind of understand that either, taxes need to go up or we need to divert resources from certain things to defence. I don't think that's optional anymore, and I don't think that we're having the conversation in an open enough manner for that to be understood. In certain parts, certainly of Europe, if you go to places like Estonia or Poland, it's completely different. But the further away you supposedly are, because let's face it, any missile can reach anywhere in a question of minutes, that those conversations need to be had. And I'm not sure that necessarily just falls to the military to do that. It is a whole of society conversation that needs to happen.
You're right.
But coming back to procurement, and this is down to the military, procurement is pretty broken. I mean, it needs to. It is still anchored in the 20-year cycles. We need agile procurement. We need to be able to procure. Even if you augment your budgets, you increase your budgets to the 5% that's currently being touted as the ideal, whether you agree with that or not. You still need to be able to spend that in the way that's getting you the best technology. So even if you spend all that, but you're buying yesterday's technology, that's of no use to you and everyone you're trying to protect. So it's about procurement, it's about agility, but it's about spending wisely and well.
I completely agree with you. My background is CIS, IT, cyber, and there's always been this discussion that normal procurement procedures are not suitable for this speed and agility and evolution. Normally, we try to buy the platform, perfect whatever it is, and last for many years. Now, everything is evolving so fast that the agility to have it, the agility to evolve and test it continuously and readapt. We are talking about how to educate models continuously, must be completely different. And maybe that's the moment that we have to do it anyway. But we have some kind of inertia. Inertia, sorry. Anything else from two of you?
I actually want to
Zena,
add something
yes.
to that and maybe challenge it a little bit. The current speed and scale of technology development is happening so fast that it has taken away the time for proper safety practices. And so what I would say is, while we may want to pursue agile procurement for these systems, realistically there has been, with all the fanfare around AI and all the militaries needing to be leaders in AI and AI forward and all the buzzwords that we use, what it's created is a fabricated fear of falling behind. And this fabricated fear of falling behind has pushed very fast procurement and adoption processes at the expense of necessary safety practices. So while I do agree in essence that procurement practices could be changed or improved, I would challenge the idea that they need to meet the speed and scale that is currently being pushed. And I think if we are going to move forward responsibly, it's about finding the balance between speed and scale and then necessary requirements for these systems. Really.
Perfect. And to try to reconcile these two different views, what I take away from this is that this risk of safety in this evolving process implies more human overview along the process. So we go back to more human responsibility along the whole process. Okay. Ignacio, anything?
Yeah, sure. We, in the EU, just has published one European defense industry transformation roadmap, trying to precisely to tackle this. No, it's very important to link the new starters, the new companies, new defense is agile with the military and the integrators, and that is being pursued. There is, for instance, they are preparing an agile, is one framework where we try to establish projects with a duration from 6 to 12 months, really to shorten the times, because it's important. But I fully support what Zena was saying, because we are looking for speed. It's normal. I mean, we need to increase, but always respecting responsible AI approaches in the sense of being ethical. And yeah, really this transformation roadmap is not only looking at that, it's as well an important part as well of investment. Our companies in Europe, we have a problem of fund really investing there, and then the European Investment Bank, there are really efforts in order to have a fund of funds really to support this, because many times as well we see that the very innovative European companies are sold out, and then we lose that capability. So that is something that and it's many times because of lack of funding, no? Investment.
Yes, Tanya.
Maybe if I may, just to come back on that, I think that you can set those as requirements, right? So that can be part of the procurement process. But to your point, Ignacio, about the 6 to 12 months, the Department of War in the US is deploying, they're purchasing in cycles of weeks, right?
Yeah.
That's fantastic. We're going to take a year to get something where, in the US, a company, so somebody with real talent and with a real solution that could help us in defense and defend ourselves is going to be, in a year, they're going to be turning over 20 times as many solutions as we are. So I think we do need to look at
You are right, but we need to comply as well with our financial regulations, with, it's...
But can't we adjust the financial regulations?
Well, but you know how much that would take, no?
I do, but...
Yeah. So,
sorry.
No. So that's perfect, and that's the aim of this diverse complementary panelists. So I completely agree with the three of you. Regulations must be followed. Speed is important. Safety is important. So let's talk about prudent risk and not blind speed, but agile awareness, we could say. So that's very important. We are just in time. I really thank you for how disciplined you have been with me and how accurately you have expressed your view. To finish with, I'd ask you to sum up with your key takeaway for the rest of the summit, because we are trying to set the foundation, the bedline for the rest of the debates. So, Dr. Assaad, this time, what would it be, your key takeaway?
International agreements on a way to deal with artificial intelligence. In what this summit is pursuing is really so important for us as well to provide our industrial policy, because, as we said, it's not only to try to comply with something, it has to be really done since the beginning. And then these international agreements will help us to guide us, and as well, in the case of the Commission, to support our member states, which is really our main aim.
Okay, thank you. We put an end with this. If you allow me, I will slide a little bit into the philosophical side, not the technical one, but just to close up. We have seen here one thing very important, which is, I try to put it in words, we live in different worlds of the same reality. We have seen 3 different views of the same problem. So our best approach, and I think that's the aim, the upper aim of this summit, is to get the best common truth that reconciles in the best way all these different views, because with the same approach, we can evolve. I thank you very much again. We all face. Thank you very much. We all face. Thank you very much. Thank you. We are just 1 minute. So
Gracias. Thank you. Thank you so much. Right, so continuing with our agenda, I would like to thank our moderator and our panelists. I think it's really refreshing to see this convergence of a technical conversation, but also related to governance risks or issues. And now for the opening session, I just need to ask everyone to remain on their seats, please. I'll say it again, I just need everyone to remain in their seats, and we will begin in a couple of minutes the opening session with the authorities. Just a quick reminder, our Wi-Fi, I am in the way. This is the QR code for our networking app, where you can see all the updates, all the agendas, speakers, attendees of the event. Highly recommend downloading our app. And yeah, if you give us just a couple minutes and stay in your seats, we will begin very shortly. Thank you very much. Hi again, everyone. Sorry, I'm just insisting if we please could stay around our seat. I understand we all want to chat. That's completely fine. Just please don't leave the room, and we should all be fine. We will start in a couple minutes, so please be patient, bear with us, and just stay where your seats are. Thank you very much. begin very soon with our opening session. Again, our opening session is beginning now. If everyone could please take their seats. The opening session will begin in just a minute. Please take your seats. Thank you very much. Por favor, tomen asiento. Comenzaremos la sesión de apertura en unos minutos, por favor. Hola. Hello. Hello, everyone. We're going to be beginning now. This time for real. If you could please take your seats. We will be beginning the opening session now. Thank you very much. Just bear with us for 1 minute because we are starting now. And thank you very much for taking your seats. Just 1 more minute. Thank you. Right, so as I said, we are beginning now our opening session. Just a brief reintroduction of the purpose of this summit, the third Responsible AI in the Military Domain Summit, in case anyone couldn't join us first time in the morning. We provide a global platform for states, international organizations, and also experts from academia, private sector and civil society to exchange views on how something that is perceived, that can be perceived as quite menacing, can be actually used to increase peace and understanding. I think it's no coincidence that we are doing this in Spain, as we are leading European power in responsible development and use of military AI, combining two very important factors, which are technological innovation, and a strong human responsibility, with the final goal always of maintaining full respect for international law. Proof of this compromise of our country is the Spanish Agency for the Supervision of Artificial Intelligence, which is located here in Coruña. Again, not a coincidence we are meeting in this part of the country. And also the city itself, it's a strategic hub for the development of advanced and human-centric, most of all, artificial intelligence. As I said, it was very refreshing on our first conversations to hear this convergence and how there is an increasing need for technical professionals that already have a deep AI knowledge to also understand the social, economical, and legal implications that this technology may have. Just in the first panel, we talked about a great example, which is using quantum computing principles to combat AI models. How can we do something so new, so innovative, with always maintaining the human in the loop and the human as our focus? So, as I see our authorities have joined us here, I would like to thank them all for their presence. It is a real pleasure. And as I said, I will be presenting them now. We will have a few words from our hosts. The co-organizers of the event are the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, European Union and Cooperation, and also the Ministry of Defense. And this event is supported by the Council of A Coruña and the Provincial Council of A Coruña. In that note, I would like to give the word to our mayor, the mayor of A Coruña, and that is Inés. Thank you very much. If you would like to join us. Yeah? Let's welcome her on stage. Thank you. Sí, sí. You're going to have to excuse me. There was a last-minute change, but it's okay, because we are going to hear from the president of the Provincial Council of A Coruña, Valentín González Formoso first, so if we could please welcome him on stage. Thank you, and sorry for the confusion.
Welcome to Coruña, bienvenidos, bienvenidas a Coruña. Saludar antes de...
Welcome to Coruña, and I would like to start by saying hello to those who've made this international summit possible, this Responsible AI in the Military Domain Summit. And what they're not here yet is our Minister for Defense, Margarita Robles, and Amparo Valcárcel, the Secretary of State for Defense. They're not here yet, but yet. I'd like to welcome you all to Coruña, which is a city, and it makes all the sense for this city to host this summit, because our city has made an effort in the past few years to welcome and host all the technological talent. We are the headquarters of the AI agency is based here. We have all the other centers, and we have a very dynamic industry in Galicia, and also in relation to the military domain, we've had historically a big presence as well in the the shipyards and shipbuilding, but also in terms of transportation, because the government of Spain, together with Navantia, has invested almost 9 billion euros in building this frigates, apart from the building this ship for combat supply. And so almost 18%, almost 19% of the industrial employment in this community is devoted to this military domain. So in terms of employment in the industrial sector, Navantia is the driving force, and it's also present here with Eduardo Dobarro, the CEO. And summits like this speak very highly of those who promote it, the countries, the armies, because it is true that AI is renowned as a tool in the civil society and the civil domain, but we have to be responsible with regards to its use, to regulate it, and the human factor still needs to have a big factor. And so the implications in the military domain, especially in a day and age like today, and this is why summits like this, where we talk about responsibility, ethics, democracy, and the use of this tool, changing warfare, changing defense. So summits like this and organizing summits like this speaks very highly of the people behind it. So it is very necessary and very relevant, especially in a day and age like we're living now. So I hope you enjoy these 2 days in this summit. Hopefully the civil authorities are open to the outputs of this summit, which is the 3rd summit. So for the civil authorities, local authorities, to take good note of the output of these 2 days of summit. But it's, like we said, it's important that international law to preserve our most beloved peace. Thank you so much for being here today, and I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.
Gracias, Presidente de la Diputación. Next, we were counting with the for defense. As you were able to observe this morning coming here, there is a very strong storm outside, and unfortunately she couldn't make it. We're gonna have to blame Galicia for this one. I'm sorry, that's just how it is over here. But we are instead of our State Secretary for Defense, we are lucky to have Lieutenant General José María Millán Martínez, Director of CESTIC, that is the Center for Information and Communication Systems and Technology of the Spanish Army. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, autoridades, representantes del mundo.
Ladies and gentlemen, your excellencies, representatives of the academia, and friends at the end of the day, it's an honor to welcome you to Coruña, a city open to the Atlantic Ocean, open to for dialogue, to host this 3rd Responsible AI in the Military Domain Summit. Your presence here today confirms that this has consolidated as a necessary space for debate and discussion about international safety. The impact of AI in the military domain is unquestionable, as we could see in the two previous summits in The Hague in 2023 and Seoul in 2024, when we all agreed about the importance of this tool, especially in military operations, command and control, intelligence operations, surveillance and recognition, and management of the information and logistics. In the summit of The Hague, that meant laid the foundation of a global structured discussion between industry, civil society, academia, and it started the first documents with shared values and the central of the human control and the latter responsibility of the states in the use of AI in the military domain. The summit in Seoul consolidated this impulse, this driving force. So conversations allowed for us to advance in the conversations geared towards peace and safety at an international level. The responsible use, future governance with multiple stakeholders taking part. From Seoul, we had a big consensus. Applications of AI in the military domain need to be developed, deployed, and used in a way that they preserve the peace, international peace and stability, always aligned with the UN Charter, international regulations, and human rights. And so that was the beginning of the humankind realizing they need to be responsible, and we have to be responsible also in the military domain, preserving the appropriate human control, including human judgment and control, especially related with the use of force. This summit is also talking about international debates about governance of AI. Since 2017, the GGE, the group of governmental experts on lethal autonomous weapons systems, is examining the legal aspects, military and ethical, of these systems. And they are publishing important reports, and the General Assembly of UN also recognizes the potential risks associated with AI in military and the need for human control. This summit in Coruña aims at becoming the third milestone of a multi-factor process where states and international organizations, both the industry and the academia, as well as the civil society, to exchange approaches and perspectives from a very different point of view. And so that was a turning point, and as this grows, the political tension advances and the AI advances as well, it's important that we have these gatherings. So here in Coruña, we aim at consolidating what we started back in The Hague and Seoul, based on technical knowledge, practical experience, and effective multilateralism. AI does not replace human judgment, but amplifies its consequences. Therefore, the real challenge is not only technological, but political, ethical, and institutional. From here, in Coruña, we encourage the international community to take part of this process in order to guarantee AI in the military domain is a force at the service of peace, stability, and common good. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lieutenant General. Again, I'm gonna have to blame this one on the storm. We were very excited to count on Spain's defense minister to be here with us. The plane couldn't land, but again, we are still very lucky because we have instead Lieutenant General Miguel Ivorra, Directorate General for Strategy and Innovation for Defense Industry. So please welcome him on stage. Thank you.
Delegado del Gobierno, Presidente de la Diputación.
Dear government delegate, dear Mayor, all of the civil and military authorities present here, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Miguel Ivorra. I am the Director of the Strategy in the defense industry, and I will be reading the words of the Secretary of State for Defense, María Amparo Valcarce, because she could not be here. And so it's an honor to welcome you to this third Responsible AI in the Military Domain Summit with more than 50 international delegates that has been consolidated as a reference and that benchmark for the analysis and the promotion of responsible use of AI in the military domain. By holding this summit in Coruña, we'd like to highlight the role of Galicia in the defense area, especially when it comes to innovation and technology, with modernizing our capacities and initiatives. Through initiatives, Ferrol is a hub of excellency with the digital twin in Navantia. We support the advancement of sensors, industrial capacities, semiconductors with high quality promoted by Indra. And also we have excellency centers geared towards the application of R&D. Also relevant programs of Aurovesa and Valga of special cars. Also Gradient with 5G advanced projects and quantum cryptography with a potential application in military domains. And we have also innovation projects from the European Union, and some of them are funded by the European Defence Fund with interoperability, naval, and the intelligent operation of systems. Right from the beginning, this summit has demonstrated that it's important to consider the impact of AI in the military domain from a balanced point of view, combining technological ambition, political responsibility, and respect for international law. Spain is consistently at the forefront of the leaders in AI, and we are on the 7th position. And we have a relevant role in the European ecosystem of AI, both in research as well as deployment. This summit, it's not only a space for reflection, is a benchmark that needs to be translated into public policies, effective governance, and real capabilities. Our goal is to transform international consensus on responsible use of AI in specific options and to foster the industrial base of the defense. AI is a cross-level and superiority of information and sustainability of the military capabilities. This summit is the benchmark, both political and ethical, human control, traceability, responsible use of AI are not just abstract declarations, but criteria that are integrated right from the very design of the programs and the systems that we promote. This vision translates into the special programs of modernization, where AI is seen in the PF 110 school frigates, combat systems, sensors, and we have different exploration vehicles for land exploration, applying AI algorithms for perception, environment analysis, and supporting tactical decision making. And so also for cyber defense, capabilities of AI deployment for early detection of threats, behavior analysis, and automation of the response. Also, we have NGUWS is the future of the air combat, collaborative combat, sensorial fusion, and support in decision making. Other programs for the transversal use of the AI to guarantee supply chains. Also complementary, the Industrial and Technological Plan for Safety and Defense is a tool that helps translating all these principles to the industrial tissue at a national and local level. And the goal is to strengthen the autonomy, innovation, and to lay the foundations of an industrial trustworthy tissue. We manage 10 billion euros to strengthen the national defense industry with investments in safety networks, cybersecurity, AI, applied AI. One of the main values of Reaim, it's a capability to articulate a multi-level governance with states, industry, academia, and international organizations. We promote actively this cooperation in the belief that only by international alignment we'll be able to guarantee interoperability, trustworthiness, and legitimacy in the use of AI in the defense. This approach is in line with the EU frameworks as well as the NATO framework, and this summit poses the chance to keep working together and move forward with this responsible tool and fully aligned with the values that we all share. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lieutenant General. Now in order to finish off this formal opening, we have the Mayor of Coruña here with us. I just like to state again, as I said before, it is no coincidence that we're in Spain. It is no coincidence that we are in Coruña, and it is no coincidence that the Spanish Agency for the Supervision of Artificial Intelligence is just across the road. And as someone who grew up here and left for a couple of years to precisely study artificial intelligence, being able to come back to such a vibrant hub for the development of AI and other new technologies it feels very inspiring. So that said, I would like to welcome on stage our mayor, the mayor of Coruña, Inés. Now it's the time, yes.
Thank you. Good morning, authorities, military authorities, civilians, government representatives, members of the academia, members of the technological sector, defense, and the civil society, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends. It's a great honor as Mayor of Coruña to welcome you all to our city on the occasion of this third International Summit about the responsible use of AI in the military domain. You are here in A Coruña, an open city because of its history, because of its vocation, open to Europe through the Atlantic, but also open to the world. A city which has always looked beyond the horizon and which understands progress as a balance between innovation, social cohesion, and a commitment to democracy. If you didn't know it, A Coruña has been the seat of some of the most relevant historical moments of Spain, and it is no coincidence that we are celebrating this third summit here at home, like Alba said. A Coruña is a city which has always been in the avant-garde and which is the host here of this forum, which is a forum for reflection upon one of the greatest challenges of our time. A Coruña is always open to the world, and it is very willing to show you everything that it has to offer. So we're going to watch it all in a short clip. As I was telling you, it's a great honor as a city to be able to host this space for reflection about one of the greatest challenges of our times. All of us here are well aware of the deep transformation that we're going through as a country, as a planet. And obviously, A Coruña is involved in that too. The geopolitical international scenario is changing so fast with intensity, and this goes beyond our traditional expectations. Security and safety are no longer understood without technology, in particular without the AI, which has completely changed the way we conceive, we plan, and develop strategies. Those of us who are working in the public field, even though we work close to the civil society, we understand how AI is cross-sectional from society to culture, and of course, including defense. That is why this reality forces us to take action or to take position, because technological progress should go together with clear democratic constraints and controls. Otherwise, it will become a tool for instability rather than peace. That is why we must impose a type of governance which is ethical and complies with international rule of law, which places people at the core and which is at the service of the civil society. Defending international law is not something abstract. It's about defending our countries, our institutions, and our citizenship. It's about protecting our rights, our freedoms, and our social and economic development. A Coruña will become, for these couple of days, the epicenter of this forum of high-level experts. I am very aware that throughout history, in the field of defense, there have been varied positions, but we must remember that A Coruña is closely linked to the National Defense Services. We used to have a weapons factory. We also have the General Captain's headquarters and also the military archives. In the former weapons factory, right now we are hosting the ICT's city, which is a good example of the change and transformation of society. Coruña is now focusing very much on technology in a technological hub, and we believe that cities should play a role in the huge global challenges and discussions. Cities are meeting points for living together, for talking together, and diversity, and therefore cities are the right place to hold discussions about what is the best way for technology to serve the general interest. We must be ready nowadays. We must be ready to anticipate different scenarios and to act with responsibility. We must have a defense system which is well prepared. I don't mean prepared to attack, but prepared to defend ourselves and to protect ourselves and our citizenship. So for A Coruña and for Galicia, it is an honor to host this forum, this summit. I'd like to finish by thanking all of the sponsors and institutions and individuals which have made it possible, and all those stakeholders that are working in various fields to make sure that AI and its development is guided by the principles of responsibility, legality, and ethics. The AESIA agency, which is located right here downtown in A Coruña, with the director of this agency, will also contribute to turning A Coruña into a reference hub. Thank you to the Ministry of Defense and Foreign Affairs, who have been collaborating with us in order to make it possible to organize this third summit after Seoul and The Hague. And I do hope that this couple of days will be fruitful, open, and constructive.
To say welcome to everybody to our city. It is an honor and a pleasure for me to host this important summit in A Coruña. I hope you can enjoy our city, our history, our heritage, our monuments like the Torre de Hércules, the Tower of Hercules, who is the most ancient Roman lighthouse who's still in operation in the world. And you have also a historic opportunity, and you can enjoy our special weather. You can enjoy the rain, the wind, the storm, and the clouds at the same time in the same day. I repeat, it's a history opportunity. So enjoy also our gastronomy. And if you like Coruña, please come back in summer. You can enjoy in summer our city, our history, and also our special weather. In the summer, we have the rain, the clouds, and the storms. So hope you have time to enjoy all these beautiful things, and welcome to my city, to our city, and a lot of success in this summit. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias a todos.
Thank you, Mayor of A Coruña. Some very wise words for all of us to think about. Now you can see why I liked it here and I came back. Not only is a beautiful strategic hub for technology, but it's also really fun, and I can vouch for that. I can say Coruña is a very fun city. So without further ado, this concludes our formal opening. And now we have, I think, a much needed quick coffee takeaway. Just a reminder for everyone, the next activity will be the parallel sessions on different rooms. Please check which room you are assigned and go correspondingly. And we will see you there starting at 11:50. Again, that's 11:50. Thank you, everyone. I know time is tight, but we have time for a quick coffee. Thank you.